sabiduría excede en que da vida a sus poseedores. Mira la obra de Dios, porque ¿quién podría enderezar lo que Él torció? En el día del bien, cosa del bien, y en el día de la adversidad considera. Dios hizo tanto lo uno como lo otro, a fin de que el hombre nada haya después de él.
Gracias. Puedes sentar. Cualquier sitio. ¿Qué es lo mejor para mí en la vida? ¿Prosperidad o adversidad? What's best for me in my life? Prosperity or adversity? ¿Cuál me llevará a donde Dios quiere que yo esté? Which one will take me wherever God wants me to be? Prosperity or adversity? Muchas veces asumimos que sabemos la respuesta a esas preguntas. A lot of times we act like we know the answers to those questions. We assume that we already know. Muchas veces tenemos la tendencia de pensar que nuestros planes siempre resultarán en lo mejor para nosotros. How many times have you ever thought, I'm sure that my plan will end up being the best for me? Proverbs 16:9 says this, Proverbios 16:9, la mente del hombre planea su camino, pero el Señor dirige sus pasos. Proverbs 16:9 says, the mind of a man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Y yo necesito que el Señor dirija mis pasos. ¿Por qué? Porque de una manera real, yo no sé lo que es mejor para mí en esta vida, si es prosperidad o adversidad. Here's the reason I need God to watch my steps, to direct me. Because in a very real way, I have to come to the realization that I don't know what is best for me. You have to come to that realization. Yo no sé lo que es lo mejor para mí. Ecclesiastes 6:12 es donde Salomón explica eso. Everybody look at Ecclesiastes 6:12, and I want to show you where Solomon says this. Ecclesiastes 6:12, porque quién sabe lo que es bueno para el hombre durante su vida, en los contados días de su vana vida. Los pasará como una sombra, pues quién hará saber al hombre lo que sucederá después de él bajo el sol. Solomon says in Ecclesiastes 6:12, well, who knows what is good for a man in this life? Who knows? Do you know? He says, during the few years of his future life, he will spend them like a shadow. For who can tell a man what will be after him under the sun? Salomón nos dice, dejado a tu propia sabiduría, ni siquiera sabe lo que es bueno para ti en esta vida, ni lo que va a pasar después. Solomon says, left to your own wisdom, you don't know what's good for you in this life, and left to your own wisdom, you don't know what's going to happen afterwards. Estamos comenzando una nueva sección aquí en Ecclesiastes, desde 6:10 hasta el final del libro, en que Salomón nos da sus conclusiones de la vida. Here's a new section, if you want to know this, in Ecclesiastes. From 6:10 to the end of the book is a different section. And this is Solomon's conclusions on life, based on what we've already seen. Basado en lo que ya hemos visto, que toda la vida es vanidad bajo el sol sin Dios, Salomón va a dar conclusiones y él quiere comenzar por decirnos, tú no sabes nada. Solomon's going to make conclusions about life after he's told you everything under the sun is vanity without God. And what he's going to start with is to tell you this. If you want to be wise, the first thing you need to know is you don't know. Si tú quieres ser sabio, Salomón dice, tú necesitas reconocer que tú no sabes. Que tú tienes un problema de conocimiento. Y lo que es sabio cuando yo no sé es confiar en alguien que sabe. If I don't know, then what's wise for me is not to trust in me. If I don't know, I have to trust in somebody who knows. Amen. Which is why Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says this. Proverbios 3, 5 a 6. Tal vez ustedes pueden citar este verso. You might be able to even quote this verse. Confía en el Señor con qué?
All your heart.
Todo tu corazón y no te apoyes en tu propio entendimiento. Reconócele en todos tus caminos y Él enderezará tus sendas. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and don't lean on your what? Own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him and He will what? Make your path straight. Why? Because He knows the way.
Yes, sir.
Él conoce el camino. Por eso Él puede enderezar tu camino.
Yes, sir.
Para mí, la sabiduría no es decir, yo sé lo que es mejor para mí, es más prosperidad. Yo tengo que confiar que Él sabe. Si yo necesito prosperidad o adversidad. For me, the wise thing to do is not to say, I know what I need more prosperity. The thing that I need to do is say, He knows what I need. Amen. And if that's adversity, He knows what I need. I trust Him. Amen. Because I doubt myself.
Yes.
You should have a healthy self-doubt. I don't like it when people say, you just got to follow your heart. That's bad advice. Pero sabes que a menudo lo que es mejor para nosotros, lo que nos llevará a donde Dios quiere que estemos, no es lo que queremos. I want you to hear this loudly and clearly. Sometimes what is best for you and what will take you where God wants you to be is not what you want. Okay? Is that true or false? Necesitamos ser honestos aquí. Todos nosotros en algún punto de la vida o otro vamos a pasar o ya hemos pasado una situación que nos hizo dudar si eso es lo mejor para nosotros. ¿Cierto o no? All of us at one point or another in our lives we have gone through something or are going to soon that's going to make you doubt and question, is this best for me?
Yes.
Some of you are there right now. And you're saying, I'm not sure this is best to get me where God wants me to be. Because I know. Yo sé. But look at Ecclesiastes 7:14. I just want to show you something. This is Solomon telling you why God does the things that He does in our life. En Ecclesiastes 7:14, Solomon explica por qué Dios hace esto en nuestras vidas. Porque Él nos da adversidad y prosperidad. Alégrate en el día de la prosperidad y en el día de la adversidad. Considera, Dios ha hecho tanto el uno como el otro para que el hombre no descubra nada que suceda después de él. Ecclesiastes 7:14, watch this. You want to know why is adversity in the world? In the day of prosperity, be happy. But in the day of adversity, consider God has made the one as well as the other so that man will not discover anything that will be after him. Ese es el punto. Dios en mi vida me da la mezcla justa de adversidad y prosperidad para mantenerme dependiente de su soberanía, su sabiduría y no de la mía. God gives me the perfect mixture. Watch this now. As a child of God, He gives me the perfect mixture of pain and pleasure, prosperity and adversity to keep me dependent on His wisdom and not on my own. Okay. It's perfect. He gives it to me. Solomon says they both have a purpose. Solomon quiere decirnos que la prosperidad como la adversidad tienen un propósito. Y él dice, sé alegre cuando las cosas van bien. Pero sepa que le voy a dar adversidad para que la prosperidad no se convierta en un ídolo. Solomon says this, look, if it were left up to your wisdom, you would always choose more prosperity, and that's not good for you. So he says, be happy when things are going well, but remember, when adversity comes into your life, I'm giving you that so your prosperity doesn't become an idol. You want to see this in a passage? Look at Proverbs 30. Mira conmigo Proverbios 30. Dios sabe que siempre elegiríamos más prosperidad en lugar de la adversidad y por eso Él tiene que darme adversidad para que la prosperidad no sea un ídolo. Look at Proverbs 37:9. Proverbios 37:9. Mire esto. No me des pobreza ni riqueza. Dame a comer mi porción de pan. No sea que me sacie y te niegue y diga quién es el Señor, o que sea menesteroso y robe y profane el nombre de mi Dios. Él dice ni pobreza ni riqueza. He says in Proverbs 30:8-9. Listen to this. Give me neither poverty nor riches. feed me with the food that is my portion, that I not be full and deny you and say, who is the Lord? Or that I not be in want and steal and profane the name of my God. Don't give me too much, don't give me too little. God has the perfect mixture.
Yes.
Dios tiene la mezcla, correcto. Y el punto de Salomón aquí es que la adversidad y la prosperidad tiene un propósito, y es la adversidad en lugar de la prosperidad que Él usa muchas veces para producir el efecto que Él quiere en mi vida. Here's the point of Solomon here. You need to know this. Both prosperity and adversity in the hand of God have a purpose. But oftentimes He gives me adversity instead of prosperity to produce the effect He wants in my life. And that does not conform to my mind, but it conforms to His.
Yes.
And He says, you don't know what's best for you. You have to trust me that I do. Él me dice que yo no sé lo que es mejor para mí, entonces yo tengo que confiar en Él. Cuando Dios me da adversidad y Él me dice, bueno, yo sé que eso no tiene sentido a tu mente pequeña, pero tú tienes que confiarme, eso me pone en una posición de confianza. Yo no tengo opción sino confiar en su sabiduría. When God gives me adversity that puts me in a position where I have to trust Him, I fall upon His wisdom and say, I don't know, but you do.
Yes, sir.
And you know what? Here's the beautiful thing. You can ask Him for His wisdom. Aquí es la cosa hermosa. Tú puedes pedir su perdón. Santiago 1.5 dice esto. This is James 1.5. Y si alguno de vosotros tiene falta de sabiduría, pídala a Dios, el cual da a todos abundantemente y sin reproche, y le será dada. James 1.5. If any of you lacks wisdom.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody lack wisdom in the room? ¿Quién tiene falta de sabiduría? He says, if any of you, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all generously and without reproach, and it will be given to him. Why don't we ask God for Him to give us His wisdom right now? Debemos pedir que Dios nos dé su sabiduría ahora mismo. Bueno, Nick, you ask that the Lord would give us His wisdom. Just ask Him to shower it on all of us. Yeah. Amen.
God, I just want to thank you for who you are. God, you are sovereign over everything, and you're in control over everything. And God, I pray that today we would seek your vision and not our own, that we would seek your will and not our own, that your ways are good and that your paths are straight. And God, our sin, our pride, our selfishness would just take us off that path to our own destruction. And God, right now I ask for wisdom for each and every single one of us, God, that whatever we're going through, that God, your word says that if we ask for your wisdom, you would give it to us. And God, in whatever situation is going on, Lord, I pray and ask for your wisdom, God, and not our own, that your ways are made straight. And so, Lord, I pray for that for each and every single one of us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Dios, por favor, danos de tu sabiduría. Eso es lo que necesitamos para ver el mundo como tú lo ves. En el nombre de Cristo. Con la sabiduría de Dios, comenzamos a ver el mundo como Él lo ve. When God gives you His wisdom, tell me if this isn't true, you begin to see the world the way that He does.
Yes, sir.
Cuando yo tengo la sabiduría de Dios, comienzo a ver y valorar las cosas que Él valora, incluso el dolor en mi vida, porque eso está produciendo un efecto. When I begin to see with God's eyes, I begin to value things that He values. And sometimes, you know what He values in my life? Pain. Because pain brings me to where He wants me to be. Man, recently God had to stretch me to get me to pray. He had to put me down, break me. Cuando vemos con sus ojos, comenzamos a darnos cuenta de que la adversidad como la prosperidad tiene propósito. Y cualquier sea la mezcla de prosperidad y adversidad en mi vida, con los ojos de Dios yo puedo regocijarme. Whatever is the mixture of pain and pleasure in my life that God gives me, I can rejoice if I have His eyes. This is what James 1:2-4 says. Santiago 1:2-4. Tened por sumo gozo, hermanos míos, el que os halléis en diversas pruebas, sabiendo que la prueba de vuestra fe produce paciencia, y que la paciencia tenga su perfecto resultado, para que seáis perfectos y completos sin que os falte nada. James 1:2-4. Consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces what? Patience. And let patience have its perfect results, so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. El punto de Salomón aquí es que, a pesar del hecho que eso no tiene sentido a mi mente, en la mente de Dios muchas veces es la adversidad y no la prosperidad que logra el resultado que Él quiere. Y eso es sabiduría. The point of Solomon here is to tell you this. Even though it doesn't make sense to you, and even though it doesn't make sense to me, in the mind of God, it is often adversity instead of prosperity, pain instead of pleasure, that brings you to where He needs you to be. And that doesn't make sense to you or to me, but it does to Him. Y Dios quiere que seamos personas que confíen en Él incluso cuando duele. God wants us to be people that trust Him, especially when it hurts. So, Él quiere que seamos personas que respondan sabiamente a todo en esta vida, porque confiamos que Él conoce el camino. He wants us to be people who trust Him and who respond wisely to everything in life because we know He knows the way. So I want you to write down this phrase. Yo quiero que escribas esta frase. La frase es escuela del sufrimiento. La escuela del sufrimiento. I want you to write down school of suffering. The school of suffering. Salomón va a comenzar el capítulo 7 para probar su punto. Que muchas veces es la adversidad y no la prosperidad que Dios usa. Solomon's going to start chapter 7, and what he's trying to do is to prove his point that it is many times adversity and not prosperity that God uses. And this idea of the school of suffering comes from a quote by a guy named J.I. Packer. Anybody read Knowing God? ¿Quién ha leído Conociendo a Dios por J.I. Packer? Está bien. Bueno. Es un libro muy famoso. En un capítulo, así el fin del libro, que se llama Estas pruebas internas, él escribió de cómo Dios madura el cristiano. There's a chapter at the end, I don't know for those of you who've read it, it's called These Inward Trials. You ever read that chapter? It's about how God matures a Christian. This is what he says. Eso es lo que él dijo. A menudo el comienzo de nuestra carrera cristiana está marcado por un gran gozo emocional, respuestas sorprendentes a la oración y fruto inmediato en sus primeros actos de testimonio. Por lo tanto, Dios los alienta y los establece en la vida. Often the start of our Christian career is marked by great emotional joy, remarkable answers to prayer, and immediate fruitfulness in first acts of witness. Thus, God encourages us and establishes us in the life. Here's what he says next, though. Pero a medida que se hacen más fuertes, los ejercita en una escuela más dura. Él los expone a tantas pruebas como pueden soportar no más. Por lo tanto, Él construye nuestro carácter, fortalece nuestra fe y nos prepara para ayudar a otros. Listen to this. But as they grow stronger, Christians, meaning He exercises them in a tougher school. He exposes them to as much testing as they are able to bear, not more. Thus He builds our character, strengthens our faith, and prepares us to help others. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in the school of suffering with God? ¿Has estado en la escuela de sufrimiento con Dios? Tal vez en el comienzo de tu carrera cristiana todo salió muy bien, fácil. Pero ahora Él te ha puesto en otra escuela, más dura. Maybe at the beginning of your Christian life everything went fairly smoothly, great emotional joy, it was easy, and then all of a sudden you found yourself in a tougher school and there was a reason for that. That's the school Solomon's talking about here. Dios a menudo nos pone en una escuela de sufrimiento porque el sufrimiento puede ser instructivo para nuestras vidas. God often puts us in suffering because suffering can be instructive for us.
Okay.
Now look at Ecclesiastes 7:1. Mira Ecclesiastes 7:1. Mejor es el buen nombre que el buen ungüento y el día de la muerte que el día del nacimiento. A good name, Solomon says, is better than a good ointment. And the day of one's death is better than the day of one's birth. Para entender esta parte de Ecclesiastes necesitamos saber que ungüento se refiere a alegría, una celebración, gozo, una fiesta, y nombre se refiere a una reputación. So in order to understand this part, you need to understand ointment typically refers to joy, praise, a party, a celebration, and then name refers to a reputation. Y con eso Salomón conecta las ideas en la primera y segunda parte del verso. This is how Solomon connects part 1 and part 2 of the verse. Salomón combina las ideas de ungüento con nacimiento. So Solomon connects the idea of ointment with birth. Y él combina las ideas de nombre con muerte en otro lado. He combines the ideas of name and death on the other side. Él dice, es mejor tener un buen nombre en el día de tu muerte que celebrar el día de tu nacimiento que luego vas a desperdiciar. This is what Solomon is saying. It's better to have a good name when you die than just to celebrate the day of your birth when you might go off and waste that life. Es mejor celebrar o es mejor tener una buena reputación al fin de tu carrera en lugar de simplemente celebrar el principio. Solomon says it's better to have a good name and a good reputation at the end than it is to just celebrate at your birth. You ever been to a funeral where you didn't know what to celebrate? ¿Has ido a un funeral en que tú no tenías nada que celebrar? You were looking for things to celebrate. That's why Solomon says in Ecclesiastes 7:8, better is the end of a matter than its beginning. Por eso Salomón dijo en Ecclesiastes 7:8, mejor es el fin de un asunto que su comienzo. Y Salomón quiere decirnos, a pesar del dolor, tristeza, adversidad de la muerte y un funeral, eso es más instructivo para mi vida que celebrar un nacimiento. Muchas veces. A pesar del hecho que eso no conforme a mi sabiduría. Here's what Solomon's saying. Many times, even though there's pain, there's sadness, and there's adversity involved in death, death in a funeral will teach you much more than a baby shower. That's his point. And that doesn't make sense to your wisdom, that makes sense to the wisdom of God. Now, why is that? ¿Por qué es que un funeral me puede enseñar? Probablemente apuesto que nunca has salido de un funeral sin pensar en la brevedad de la vida. ¿Cierto o no? I bet you've never left a funeral without thinking about the brevity of your own life. Have you? I remember sitting there. I've done multiple funerals, I've preached multiple funerals. I remember sitting there looking at Lee's ashes and thinking, I talked to him a few days ago. Los funerales pueden ser instructivos para nosotros porque Dios usa estas cosas a pesar del hecho que no conforme a mi mente para hacernos vivir sabiamente. I bet when you walk out from a funeral, even though that doesn't conform to your wisdom that God would use that in your life, you walk out and you live a different way than when you walked in. I bet you do. I bet you think life is pretty short. And that's a wise way to live. I think that's why Solomon wrote this in Ecclesiastes 7:2. Everybody look at Ecclesiastes 7:2. Ecclesiastes 7:2. Él dijo, mejor es ir a una casa de luto que ir a una casa de banquete, porque aquello es el fin de todo hombre. Y el que vive lo hará reflexionar en su corazón. Ecclesiastes 7:2, he says, it's better to go to a house of mourning than to a house of feasting, because that is the end of every man, and the living takes it to heart. Listen to this, the living takes it to heart. Have you ever thought about death and taking it to heart? ¿Has reflexionado en el día de tu muerte? Do you think very often about your own death? You should. You should think a lot about when you're going to die. It helps you not to waste your life. What if it was this afternoon? ¿Qué tal si murieras esta tarde? Think about it. You say, I don't know, it's kind of weird to think about my death. Es un poco raro pensar mucho en mi muerte. Mira, Jesús pensaba en su muerte todos los días. Jesus thought about his death every day. Do you remember the word hour in the Gospel of John? How many times you saw hour? Jesús hablaba de su hora. Vez tras vez en el Evangelio de Juan. ¿Por qué? Él siempre estaba pensando en su fin. He was always thinking, that's the end. It was on his mind all the time. Pablo, listen to Paul. Filipenses 1:21. This is Philippians 1:21. Pues para mí el vivir es ¿qué? Para mí el vivir es Cristo y el morir es ganancia. Mira 23. Me siento apremiado, teniendo el deseo de partir y estar con Cristo, pues eso es mucho mejor. Paul says in Philippians 1:21, for me to live is what? You say Christ, and to die is gain. And he says in verse 23, I'm hard pressed from both directions, having the desire to depart and be with Christ, for that is very much better. Paul thought about his death a lot. I tell you who else thought about his death. Otro hombre que pensaba mucho en su muerte. Un hombre se llama Jonathan Edwards. You ever heard Jonathan Edwards' resolutions? He was 21 when he wrote this. Él tenía 21 años cuando él escribió esto. Pensar, resuelto, él dijo, pensar mucho en todas las ocasiones sobre mi propia muerte y sobre las cosas comunes que están involucradas y que rodean a la muerte. El gran teólogo Jonathan Edwards. He said, to think, resolve, to think much on all occasions about my own dying and of the common things which are involved with and surround death. He wrote that when he was 21. Why? Because when you think about your own death, it makes you sober. It's more instructive than just living your life thinking you have forever, because you don't. Tú no tienes siempre. El tiempo aquí es corto. Y por eso Salomón, él siguió para escribir esto en Ecclesiastes 7:3-4. Solomon continued to say this in Ecclesiastes 7:3-4. Mejor es la tristeza que la risa, porque cuando el rostro está triste, el corazón puede estar contento. El corazón de los sabios está en la casa de luto, mientras el corazón de los necios está en la casa del placer. Sorrow is better than laughter, Solomon said. No, he's not saying don't laugh. He's not saying don't celebrate. He's saying just sometimes God uses that instead of laughter to teach you. Many times. Sorrow is better than laughter, for when a face is sad, a heart may be happy. The mind of the wise is in the house of mourning, while the mind of fools is in the house of pleasure. Mira, déjame decirte algo. Dios muchas veces tiene que ponernos en la escuela del sufrimiento que no conforme, no cabe en nuestras mentes, pero Él tiene que hacer esto para enseñarnos cómo obedecer y confiar en su sabiduría. Y no hay otra manera. There is no other way. God says, sometimes I have to put you there. I have to put you in the school of suffering. No, it doesn't make sense to you, but I'm all wise. And when you're there, you're going to learn how to be obedient. Check this out. Jesus was put there by His Father. Jesús fue puesto en la escuela de sufrimiento. Bueno, ustedes recuerdan Hebreos 5:8. This is Hebrews 5:8. Aunque era hijo, aprendió obediencia por lo que padeció. talking about Jesus, he says, although he was a son, Hebrews 5:8, he learned obedience from the things which he suffered. He gave it to Jesus. How's he not going to give it to us? Jesus is the wisest man that ever lived.
Yes, sir.
And he says, I'm going to give you a heart of wisdom by putting you in suffering. We need to memorize Psalm 90. Debemos memorizar Salmo 90:12. This is Psalm 90, verse 12. Listen to this. Enséñanos a contar de tal modo nuestros días que traigamos al corazón sabiduría. Psalm 90, verse 12. Teach us to number our days.
Yes, sir.
Number your days. You're not here very long. Teach us to number our days. Watch this. That we may present to you a heart of wisdom. What's wisdom like? Wisdom says, I'm not here very long. La sabiduría me dice que no estoy aquí por mucho tiempo. Enséñame a contar mis días para que yo pueda presentar un corazón de sabiduría. ¿Sabes qué? Es la muerte y no la vida que nos enseña eso. Many, many, many times it is death and not life that teaches us that, isn't it? I stood over preaching my grandmother's funeral. That was over a year ago. It seems like yesterday. And here's the really amazing part. He wants to use all of us as he puts us together in this school to discipline each other. Él quiere usar todos nosotros como estudiantes en esta escuela para disciplinar uno al otro. Listen to this. Hebreos 10, 24, 25. This is Hebrews 10, 24 to 25. Listen to this. Y consideremos cómo estimularnos unos a otros al amor y las buenas obras, no dejando de congregarnos como algunos tienen por costumbre, sino exhortándonos unos a otros y mucho más a ver que el día se acerca. Mucho más. Hebrews 10, 24 to 25. Let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our own assembling together as is the habit of some. But watch this, encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. Do you see the day drawing near? This was written 2,000 years ago. Esto fue escrito hace 2,000 años. Y ahora dice, ustedes deben hacer esto más al ver que el día se acerca. This is what he's saying. If somebody in here is starting to think your life's going to be really long here, so just live it up and there's no eternity, exhort them. You're going to be the one that's going to help me get people a heart of wisdom. Si hay alguien dentro de la iglesia que está pensando, bueno, vamos a estar aquí para siempre, yo tengo tiempo para vivir porque la eternidad no, tenemos que exhortarlo. No tenemos tiempo. Somos los instrumentos que Dios usa muchas veces para dar un corazón de sabiduría a los otros. ¿Y sabes qué? Yo necesito mis hermanos y hermanas. I need my brothers and sisters to tell me that. You're acting like a fool. Somebody's acting like a fool. Because they're not wise. God uses us to bring them back. This is why, listen to Ecclesiastes 7, 5 to 6. Just listen to this. Mira Ecclesiastes 7, 5 a 6. Mejor es oír la reprensión del sabio que oír la canción de los necios. ¿Tú crees eso? He says, Ecclesiastes 7, 5 to 6, it's better to listen to the rebuke of a wise man than for one to listen to the song of fools. Do you believe that?
Yes, sir.
You like being rebuked? A mí no me gusta estar reprendido, pero bueno, para mí es bueno. He says, it's better for you to do that than to go out there and listen to the song of a bunch of fools. Paul says in the last days, people will start looking for preachers to tell them whatever they want to hear.
Yes.
Solomon says, it's wise to get a really wise person around you and let them rebuke you when you go off the path. Pablo nos dice en los últimos días, la gente va a buscar a alguien para predicar las cosas que quieren oír. Salomón nos dice que es sabio buscar un sabio que nos puede reprender. Y él dice, versículo 6, verse 6, listen to this, porque como crepitar de espinos bajo la olla, así es la risa del necio. También eso es vanidad. Es simplemente ruido. No es algo provechoso. Verse 6, for as the crackling of thorn bushes under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. It goes away quickly. This too is futility. Now, I want everybody to go to Proverbs 27:6. Mira conmigo Proverbios 27:6. Por favor. Necesitamos ver este verso juntos. Proverbios 27:6. Proverbs 27:6. Let's believe this together. Okay? Hay que creer esto juntos. ¿Ok? Fieles son las heridas del amigo, pero engañosos los besos del enemigo. He says, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but deceitful are the kisses of an enemy.
Yes, sir.
Fieles son las heridas del amigo, engañosos son los besos del enemigo. If you got a real friend, if you want to be a real friend, you don't let people just go their own way. Faithful are you as a friend when you wound me, because you have to wound me to say you're living like a fool. Solomon says that's friendship. That's love. Bueno, hay muchos aquí en la cultura que simplemente quieren besar con engaño. Bueno, yo no quiero decir nada malo. There's so many people that want to kiss with deceit. Just say, hey, I don't want to say anything bad about him. I want to maintain my PC culture, and then, hey, it's fine with me. Whatever happened to them is fine. That's not loving people. The culture will tell you it is not loving to tell the truth. Listen, la cultura nos dice que no es amoroso decir la verdad, y eso es mentira. I promise you, if you begin to preach and teach the word, I promise you what's going to happen is that you're going to end up being disliked, or you're going to be called a bigot. True or false? So, Salomón nos dice, muchas veces en la vida es la adversidad y no la prosperidad que nos enseña lo que Dios quiere enseñarnos, y también Él nos usa como sus instrumentos en esta escuela. Solomon says to us, many times it's pain, not pleasure, that God uses. And He even employs us to bring people a heart of wisdom. Now, everybody go down to verse 7. Everybody go down to verse 7. Ahora que sabemos que Dios muchas veces usa adversidad y no la prosperidad para enseñarme y llevarme donde Él quiere que yo esté, Él dice, yo quiero que tú respondas sabiamente a todo lo que yo te doy. Now that you know that God often mixes adversity with pleasure and prosperity in your life, He says, now I want you to begin to respond wisely to everything I bring you. Don't respond like a fool. Respond wisely. Because Solomon warns us here, there are ways that you can respond unwisely. Hay maneras en que tú puedes responder con imprudencia. Mira aquí Ecclesiastes 7:7. This is Ecclesiastes 7:7. Ciertamente la opresión enloquece al sabio y el soborno corrompe el corazón. Ecclesiastes 7:7, for oppression makes a wise man mad, and a bribe corrupts the heart. Here's his point. You can respond unwisely to oppression, which would be adversity, or you can respond unwisely to prosperity. Tú puedes responder mal y sin sabiduría también a la adversidad, tanto la adversidad como la prosperidad. Now, here are some responses to adversity that would not be wise. Aquí hay algunas respuestas imprudentes, sin sabiduría, comunes a la adversidad en la vida. Here are some common responses to adversity that are not wise. Impatience, anger, and wishing God would give you a different life. Impaciencia, ira, y un anhelo para otra vida. Those are responses that are not wise to suffering in your life. Being impatient, getting angry, and saying, I wish God would give me a different life or a life I had before. And you don't have to raise your hand, but I bet almost every single one of us has done one of those three. Cuando Dios traiga adversidad a mi vida, no es sabio enojarme, faltar paciencia, o buscar otra vida. Why is that? Well, look at Ecclesiastes 7, 8 to 10. Mira Ecclesiastes 7, 8 a 10. Él dice, mejor es el fin de un asunto que su comienzo, mejor es la paciencia de espíritu que la altivez de espíritu. No te apresures en tu espíritu a enojarte, porque el enojo se anida en el seno de los necios. No digas, ¿por qué fueron los días pasados mejores que estos? No, pues no es sabio que preguntes sobre esto. Ecclesiastes 7, 8 to 10. The end of a matter is better than its beginning. Patience of spirit is better than haughtiness of spirit. Don't be eager in your heart to be angry, for anger resides in the bosom of fools. Don't say, why is it that the former days were better than these? For it is not from wisdom that you ask about this. He's saying, that ain't wisdom talking. ¿Tú sabes por qué? Porque para enojarme, faltar paciencia o pensar, yo necesito otra vida, esa es la reacción de alguien que piensa que ellos saben mejor que Dios. If I get mad, or I get impatient, or I say, God, I need a different life, what I'm essentially saying is, you don't know what's best for me, because what you brought into my life is something I don't need. So I'm angry because you took away what I need. I'm impatient because you won't give me what I need. And I want a different life because I'm just done with this altogether. Solomon says those are improper reactions. Those are unwise reactions to adversity in your life. Do you remember when Job... Cuando Job se quejaba contra Dios. You remember Job? He got a little impatient, a little angry. Hey, I mean, for crying out loud, the guy lost everything. Look at what God tells him in Job 38, 1 to 3. Mira Job 38, 1 a 3. Entonces el Señor respondió a Job desde el torbellino y dijo, ¿quién es este que oscurece el consejo con palabras sin conocimiento? Ciñe ahora tus lomos como un hombre, y yo te preguntaré, y tú me instruirás. God comes to tell Job, he says, the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? What are you going to teach me? You don't think I know? Now, I would never want to hear this from God, by the way. Gird up your loins like a man. I would never want God to say, gird up your loins like a man to me. And I will ask you, and you instruct me. You become my teacher. You tell me what I need to do. Mercy. La respuesta sabia en la adversidad no es enojarme, faltar paciencia o anhelar otra vida. Es confiar que Él está haciendo lo bueno para mí. The correct response in adversity, pain, and suffering is not to be mad, lack patience, or want a different life. The response is, I trust you. This hurts a lot, but I trust you. I don't want this, but I trust you. There's also a wrong response in prosperity. También hay una respuesta mala a la prosperidad. Se llama altivez. When God gives you prosperity, there's also a wrong way to respond, and it's called haughtiness of spirit. Proud.
Yes. Yeah.
Haughtiness wasn't doing it. Proud is doing it. Altivez de espíritu. esto es una mala respuesta porque eso asume que yo tengo lo que yo tengo por algo que yo he hecho. Yo merezco lo que yo tengo y por eso yo puedo enaltecerme por causa de lo que yo tengo. It's a wrong response in prosperity to get proud because you didn't do anything to get it. This is what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 4:7, 1 Corintios 4:7. Porque ¿quién te distingue? ¿Qué tienes que no recibiste? Y si lo recibiste, ¿por qué te jactas como si no lo hubieras recibido? Paul says, 1 Corinthians 4:7, who regards you as superior? What do you have that you did not receive? And if you did receive it, why do you boast as if you had not received it? What do you have in your life that you did that's not a gift? I worked hard for this. Who gave you the breath? Who gave you the arms? Who gave you the eyes? Who gave you the strength? Who gave you the energy? Who didn't kill you? It's the truth. Everything we have is a gift. Todo lo que tenemos es un regalo de Dios. ¿Cómo nos vamos a jactar como yo he recibido esto por causa de lo que yo he hecho? No, no, no. La respuesta sabia a prosperidad es decir, yo tengo esto porque tú me has dado y yo quiero servirte con esto. The right response to prosperity in your life, whatever it is to say, this is yours anyway, so I'm going to serve you with it. This is a way for me to see how great you are. Everything outside of that is idolatry. So, Ecclesiastes 7:11-12, listen to this. Ecclesiastes 7:11-12, buena es la sabiduría con herencia y provechosa para los que ven el sol. Porque la sabiduría protege como el dinero protege, pero la ventaja del conocimiento es que la sabiduría preserva la vida de sus poseedores. ¿Por qué? Porque la sabiduría te enseña cómo responder a prosperidad y a éxito. Ecclesiastes 7:11-12, wisdom along with an inheritance is good and an advantage to those who see the sun, for wisdom is protection. Listen to this. Oh, you got to hear this. Wisdom is protection for you. Wisdom is protection as money is protection, but the advantage of knowledge is that wisdom preserves the lives of its possessors. Listen, wisdom teaches you and protects you by saying, don't respond like a fool. You don't have anything you have because you earned it. And when you're in the middle of suffering, the wrong way to respond is by questioning. That's wisdom. If you live this way, it protects you. Wisdom. I don't know if you remember, we've been reading through the book of Acts with our journals. Hemos estado leyendo el libro de Hechos en los diarios. Yo no sé si ustedes recuerdan lo que pasó a Herodes, el rey, después de enaltecerse. Do you all remember what happened to Herod? You read this in Acts chapter 12. Sweet mercy. I mean, just get a heart of wisdom and read Acts 12, right? Listen. Acts 12:22-23. Hechos 12, 22-23. Herodes llegó ahí para castigar a algunos. Y ellos clamaron probablemente para agradarlo. Voz de un Dios y no de un hombre es esta. So that Herod goes down and he's gonna go punish some folks he didn't like them, and they want to please the king, so they say, voice of a God and not of a man. Al instante, un ángel del Señor lo hirió por no haber dado la gloria a Dios y murió comido de gusanos. Immediately an angel of the Lord struck him because he did not give God the glory, and he was eaten by worms and died. I mean, get a heart of wisdom. Read Acts 12. Right? You want to get eaten by worms? So, this is what happens when we glory in ourselves. Debemos confiar en Dios porque al fin del día lo que Él ha hecho no podemos cambiar de todos modos. Mira Ecclesiastes 7:13, considera la obra de Dios porque ¿quién puede enderezar lo que Él ha torcido? Listen, why do you fight against God?